Hello friends, welcome to this YouTube video program. Today we are going to discuss another topic of your dissertation work, of your project work, that is sampling techniques. How can you select sample, what methods you supposed to use to select sample, for selecting sample. And today our focus is on non-probability sampling. So friends, before starting the session, this video lesson, let me to introduce myself. I, Dr. Niradhar De, faculty member, School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Welcome you all to this video lesson session, which is now we are getting it in YouTube. And the video of this session is also, you will get it also in Facebook, in my Facebook, as well as in the Facebook official page of Indira Gandhi National Open University. I have already discussed most of the important topics for doing your dissertation work in MA Education program. The course code is MESP001 and course title is Dissertation. And as the pandemic situation is going on, you might be facing difficulties to go to your study center to come contact with your supervisor, with your guide. At the same time, you might be facing difficulties to come to our regional centers also. So that's why these sessions, these video lessons, I think it will help you a lot for preparing your research proposal, for pursuing your dissertation work, at the same time for writing your dissertation report. So friends, let us go forward to discuss about today's topic, that is non-probability sampling. In my earlier video lesson, I have already discussed the sampling techniques that we use for the probability sampling. Okay, we have completed it in my earlier video program. And now we are going to discuss what are the different techniques, what are the different methods that you supposed to use for selecting your sample by using the non-probability sampling method. Let us go forward. So friends, again let me to say that we have developed very good self-learning material, that is the theory course, that is MES 016 Educational Research. You have studied it in the first year of your program, first year of MA Education program. 6 courses are included in the first year. Among these 6 courses, the last course, the 6th course is MES 016 Educational Research. From this course, you will get a detailed understanding about the theoretical construct of education, especially for educational research, that how you will conduct educational research. So what are the different components are there, what are the different aspects you supposed to know, you supposed to understand before conducting the educational research. It may be conceptualizing a research problem or selecting a research problem, then writing the objectives, reviewing the related literature, stating the hypothesis, then drawing a adequate sample, a representative sample, then further how you will construct your tool for collecting data, and for analyzing the data, what statistics you have to use, then further what particular research method that you have to use for conducting your study. So friends, this is the theoretical course, and I am hopeful and I am sure that you must have gone through this course, and you must have acquired the theoretical knowledge, the theoretical construct for conducting your dissertation work, for conducting the project work. At the same time, we have also developed the handbook on dissertation work. Okay, here you will find a detailed discussion with illustration, with example, that how you will prepare the research proposal. We have taken certain example, certain research title, then accordingly we have developed the research proposal as example research proposal. Then different components, you will find that as per the title that you have taken in the handbook, so how different components, how different steps that has been aligned with the title. So friends, these two documents are available in the IGNOU portal of Indira Gandhi National Open University. Many a time I have told you that all the soft copy materials of MA Education program, including the dissertation and handbook as well as the program guide, is available in the IGNOU portal of Indira Gandhi National Open University. And I am sure that you must be accessing, you must have downloaded these materials, and you must have received the hard copy of the SLM as well as the handbook. So this is a type of support that we provide to you all for pursuing your dissertation course, because for pursuing the research, for pursuing the dissertation work, the theory course, that is MES 016, that will help you a lot. That will provide you a detailed theoretical construct and theoretical understanding for doing the practical work, for doing the project work. So that's why, let me to say again, please go through IGNOU course of IGNOU website and download these two documents if you have not received the hard copy of the material. Let us go forward. So friends, the discussion points that today we'll address in this session, that is what are the different types of sample. We will discuss that what are the different types of sample. Then what is a non-probability sample, किसको हम कहेंगे non-probability sample. What techniques are used to select a sample through non-probability sampling method. So what are the different techniques that you're supposed to use in your study if you select sample by using the non-probability sampling method. Okay. And accordingly, keeping in consideration of the nature of your research problem that you have selected for pursuing your dissertation work, then you are the right person to take a decision whether you will select, you will take a probability sampling or non-probability sampling. Okay. Yesterday or in my earlier video lesson, we have discussed about the techniques of probability sampling method, and today we will discuss about the non-probability sampling method, different techniques. Then further, another discussion point of today's session, that is how to draw a non-probability sample. Okay, so what are the different techniques? Then by using that techniques, by using the process, then how you can select a sample for your study. So friends, we'll try to discuss these 4 discussion points during our deliberation of the session. Let us go forward. I have already said that so far as the type of sample and sampling techniques are concerned, sample is of 2 types. One is the probability sample and other is the non-probability sample. Especially in educational research, when we do a piece of research in education, in the discipline of education, either we take a probability sampling method or we adopt a non-probability sampling method. Okay, so the nature of your problem, the situation, and you can say the objectives that you have taken. So from there, it will be determined that whether the sample will be collected by using the probability method or by non-probability method. And if you are selecting or if you are adopting the probability sample, then these 5 different techniques I have already discussed in my earlier video lesson, that is simple random sampling, then stratified random sampling, then multi-stage sampling, systematic sampling, then cluster sampling. So I am not going to discuss again the concept and the processes and the steps that you have to adopt, you have to follow for selecting the probability sampling. I have already discussed. And again, the next probability sample, that's called as the non-probability sample. Here 4 techniques or 4 methods are included under the non-probability sample, that is snowball sampling, quota sampling, incidental sampling, and purposive sampling. So today we'll try to understand what is snowball sampling, what is quota sampling, what is incidental sampling, and what is purposive sampling. So friends, let us go forward to discuss about the processes that we adopt, the techniques that we will adopt for selecting a sample by using these 4 non-probability sampling technique. And as per your research problem, as a master student of education, for conducting the piece of dissertation work, for piece of research work, what technique you supposed to use? Okay, what are the justification? What are the need for selecting a particular non-probability sampling technique? That also we will discuss. So let us go forward. So friends, just to recapitulate, I have already discussed. Again, let me to recapitulate the very concept that we have discussed, that is the probability sampling, the concept of probability sampling. So friends, when I say probability sampling, it means each unit of the population are given equal weightage in the sampling. Means each and every unit of the population will get equal chance, equal probability to be selected to the sample from the population. Okay, so you can say the probability or the chances of being selected, the first unit of the population will be similar or will be same, will be equal to select the last unit of the sample from the population. Means in the population, every unit will have the same probability, equal probability. Then we can say that this is a probability sampling method. Then further, the researcher cannot use their discretion of choosing the sample or selecting the sample. So friends, many a time what happen, you will find that the researchers, what they're doing, they're using their discretion, they're using their own judgment, purposefully, incidentally, judgmentally, they select a sample. But this is not possible in case of probability sampling. So here, there is no scope for selecting a particular unit or a single unit of the population for the sample by using the researcher's own discretion. Okay, researcher अपना biasness में या अपना judgment में sample select नहीं कर पाएगा. Okay, randomly जो sample उनको मिलेगा by using the probability, different probability sampling method, researcher उसी यूनिट को उनको लेना पड़ेगा, उसमें किसी प्रकार को मैनिपुलेशन नहीं कर पाएंगे. If the researcher will do certain manipulation, do certain biasness, then ultimately that will affect the research, affect the result of the research, but that will not come under the probability sampling. Okay, so keep it in your mind. Then further, each member or unit of the population has equal chance of being included in the sample. I have already said that each member or unit of the population, the size of the population is 1000. So when you are taking the first unit of the population, the chances of first unit will be 1000 to be selected for a sample, and the probability of the 500th item, 700th item or 1000th item, that means the last unit of the population, if total size of the population is 1000, the chances of the last unit, that is the 1000th number, will also, the probability will also 1000. Then you can say that this is a probability sampling method. So keep it in your mind. Then further, let us now discuss the concept that what is non-probability sampling. Today we are going to discuss. Okay, so here the unit of sample are selected at the discretion of the researcher. So friends, I have already said that in probability sampling, there is no scope, no space for researcher's biasness, researcher's discretion. But so far as non-probability sampling is concerned, तो यहाँ रिसर्चर का बायसनेस, रिसर्चर का जजमेंट, अपना जजमेंट, रिसर्च का पर्पस, और यू कैन से रिसर्चर का अपना डिस्क्रिप्शन से वो सैंपल सिलेक्ट कर सकता है. ओके, सो रिसर्चर एज ए रिसर्चर ही और सी नोज बेटर हिज और हर रिसर्च. ओके, उनके रिसर्च का टॉपिक क्या है, रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम क्या है, किस प्रकार का सैम्पलिंग यूनिट उनको चाहिए. Okay, so later on we will discuss with suitable example when we will discuss different techniques of non-probability sampling. But keep in your mind that there is the possibility of researcher's discretion to select a sample from the population when the researcher adopt, when the researcher follow the non-probability sampling method. Let us go forward. Further, it depends upon the judgment of the researcher or purpose of the research. I was just earlier talking that the purpose of the research and the judgment of the researcher. So here the purpose of the research will determine that what type of sample, what should be the nature of the sampling unit. Okay, the researcher will decide. Okay, as per the nature, as per the purpose, as per the objective of the study. So that's why here freedom is given to the researcher, that on the basis of the research topic that the researcher has taken, researcher can select sample, okay, by his own discretion, own judgment, own purpose of the research. Let us go forward. So here the techniques that we follow for selecting a sample by using non-probability sampling method are just like: first is snowball sampling, second is quota sampling, third is incidental sampling, and the fourth is purposive sampling. So these four sampling technique we can use to select a sample by using the non-probability sampling method. One is the snowball sampling, then second is the quota sampling, third is the incidental sampling, and the fourth is the purposive sampling. Okay, so you might be facing a certain difficulties, feeling difficulties, that what is a snowball sampling, what is a quota sampling, what is a type of incidental sampling, and what is a purposive sampling, and in what type of research problem, in what type of study you supposed to use these non-probability sampling. Okay, so let us go forward to discuss about the detail about the concept of these four non-probability sampling techniques and what process that we supposed to adopt for selecting a sample by using the non-probability sampling. So friends, before discussing the particular non-probability sampling technique, let me to say certain important things, just like here you see, when you are selecting a probability sampling and you are selecting a non-probability sampling. Okay, so what type of result you will get? So here your research problem will determine this sample. Okay, and I have already discussed the characteristics of a sample. It may be finite, it may be infinite, it may be abstract, it may be concrete. So many a time, if the you can say the population, if the population is abstract in nature, if the researcher is not able to get a clear picture about the population, then what the researcher will do? Researcher cannot select a sample by using the probability sampling method, because as a researcher you are not getting clear idea that what is the size of the population. And friends, let me to say, probability sampling is only possible when, as a researcher, when you are able to list each and every unit of the population. Let your population is 1000, so you are very well acquainted, you know each and every unit of the population, about their location, about their address, about their communication detail. Okay, so that you can just take a type of interview, you can send a questionnaire to them, you can meet them, okay, or you can also communicate them by using the online media. So that's why, unless you know the detail, the concrete picture of the subject of the population, you cannot do the study. So that's why listing the population unit is the most in a probability sampling method. But here, when the population is abstract, you are not getting a clear idea, then what you can do? You can just select a non-probability sampling method. Okay, so friends, we'll discuss detail that how, when the population is abstract, when as a researcher you are not getting clear idea about the population, how can you select a sample for your study? Okay, so let us go forward. First we'll discuss about snowball sampling. Okay, so try to understand that what is the concept of a snowball sampling. Okay, so here you see, when it is difficult to access the sample because of the very nature of the number of population. So as a researcher, you are facing difficulties to get the sample, to access the sample, to access the population because of the nature of the member of the population. Okay, you do not know where the population exists. You do not know from where you will select the sample. You are not getting a clear idea. Then how can you adopt a probability sampling method? In probability sampling method, when you will get a clear picture that let secondary school teacher in a district, or you can say students students in a block under a district. So you know the students are enrolled in a school. You can just take the data from the school and you can list out the name of the students. You can list out the name of the teachers. Okay, but many a time when the population is abstract, then how can you find an adequate sample for conducting a study? Okay, so that's why here there is the problem to select a probability sampling. So that's why here the first technique is the snowball sampling. When you are not getting a clear nature of the members of the population, you can just go for a snowball sampling. So let us understand that how you can select a sample by using the snowball sampling method. Here you see the very name of the sampling is snowball. Snow, I think you are understanding snow, ice, okay, ball. So you see, let me to see the say the concept. When you will throw a ball on the snow, okay, स्नो को जब एक बॉल आप फेंकेंगे वो क्या होगा? बॉल जब रोल करेगा, बॉल जो मूव करेगा, when the ball will move, then automatically it will absorb the snow and the thickness of the ball you will find it will increase. बॉल का जो thickness है ये बढ़ता जाएगा. इसका मतलब यदि बॉल को हम एक सैंपल समझे, जैसे जैसे वो मूव करते जा रहा है आप देखेंगे उसका थिकनेस बढ़ता है. इसका मतलब उसका सैंपल बढ़ते जा रहा है. ओके, तो इसीलिए इसे हम कहते हैं स्नो बॉल सैंपलिंग. मतलब एक बॉल को जब स्नो को फेंकेंगे, ठीक है, तो आप देखेंगे कि स्नो को एब्जॉर्ब करता है, स्नो उसमें लग जाता है, धीरे धीरे उसका थिकनेस बढ़ता है. तो ये जो कंसेप्ट है, इसी कंसेप्ट को इस सैंपलिंग के साथ हम जोड़ेंगे. सेकेंड, to identify the first unit of the population helps to get other unit of the population. In snowball sampling, what you have to do as a researcher, you are not getting idea about the population, but anyhow first you will try to get at least one unit of the population. ठीक है, पॉपुलेशन का एटलीस्ट एक यूनिट आपको यदि मिल जाए तो उसी यूनिट को टारगेट करके then you can find out you can say the other unit of the sample. Okay, so just like, let me to give one example. To identify the people involved in various antisocial activities, you just tell me police department of different state. So what they do, you'll find that many a time the criminals they do not know that how many criminals are there in a state or in a district. Give me one example. मोबाइल थेफ्ट. ओके, जो मोबाइल चोरी करते हैं, स्मार्टफोन चोरी करते हैं. आजकल आप देखेंगे, आप जो मेट्रो में ट्रैवल करते हैं, बस में जब आप जाते हैं, रोड में जब आप जाते हैं, आप मोबाइल में बात करते होंगे, आप देखेंगे कोई आकर आपका मोबाइल छीन के ले लिया. ठीक है, तो ये क्या, वेदर सच टाइप ऑफ टेंडेंसीज विथ ए ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल. सो हु आर दोज पीपल? तो आपको कैसे पता चलेगा कि किसी एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में और किसी एक सिटी में आई कैन से दैट हाउ मेनी मोबाइल थेफ्ट्स आर देयर. ठीक है, मोबाइल थीफ्स आर देयर. सो मोबाइल चोर कितने हैं, इनका नंबर 50 है या इनका नंबर 100 है. सो पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट क्या करता है, किसी प्रकार एक मोबाइल चोर को पहले वो पकड़ता है. ठीक है, किसी प्रकार पकड़ता है बाय यूजिंग देयर टेक्निक. तो फिर उसे वो टारगेट करता है, उसे वो उसका इंटरव्यू करते हैं, या जो पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट का जो टेक्निक है वो टेक्निक यूज करके उनसे डाटा लेते हैं कि और कौन है उनका साथी जो इस प्रकार टेंडेंसी रखते हैं, जो इस प्रकार काम करते हैं. ठीक है, तो आप देखेंगे जो पुलिस का एक लगातार इंटरव्यू होता है तो फिर वो बोल देता है, कुछ एक दो नाम बोल देता है. तो आप देखिए, पहले वो टारगेट किए एग्जाम्पल, then from that sample, the police department is getting more information about the other member of the sample. तो जिसका जिसका नाम वो बताया फिर उनके पास पहुंचते हैं, फिर उनको पूछते हैं, ठीक है, उनको पूछते हैं और कौन कौन लोग इस काम में इन्वॉल्व है, उनसे भी कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलता है। फिर ये नंबर बढ़ते जा रहा है, पहले 1 से 2 नंबर मिला, 2 से 4 मिला, 4 से 10 लोग का नाम मिला, 10 से और 10 लोग का नाम मिला। इसी प्रकार ये जस्ट लाइक ए स्नोबॉल, बॉल आप स्नो में थ्रो किए तो धीरे धीरे जैसे रोल करता जाएगा उसका थिकनेस बढ़ता जाएगा। तो उसी प्रकार एक सैंपल को पहले टारगेट करते हैं और वो सैंपल को टारगेट करके उसे पूछताछ करके उनसे ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं रिगार्डिंग द अदर मेंबर ऑफ द सैंपल। सो हियर एक चीज़ जरूर आप ध्यान में रखिए, जो चोरी करता है और इस प्रकार टेंडेंसी जो रखता है वो जरूर जानता है और कौन लोग हैं, क्योंकि वह गैंग में काम करते हैं, उनका गैंग एक ग्रुप होता है, ठीक है, इस प्रकार एक्टिविटीज के लिए। तो जरूर वो जानते होंगे कि और कौन कौन लोग उनके साथ हैं, तो उनका साथी और कौन कौन लोग हैं, तो वहीं से उनको इंफॉर्मेशन मिलता है। सो पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट रियली डज ए टाइप ऑफ स्नोबॉल सैम्पलिंग। कभी वो कहते हैं कि उनके अनुमान के हिसाब से एक सिटी में 50 मोबाइल थीफ है। सो हाउ इट इज पॉसिबल, कैसे पुलिस कह सकता है कि यहाँ 50 से 100 मोबाइल थीफ है, मोबाइल चोरी जो चोरी करते हैं वो है, ठीक है। तो ये इसी टेक्निक यूज करके वो करते हैं। एंड लेट मी टू गिव वन एग्जांपल इन द schooling system, in the teaching learning process. Many a time you will find that many mischievous students are there. Okay, क्या करते हैं टीचर्स जो पढ़ाते हैं, आप देखेंगे स्टूडेंट डिफरेंट टाइप्स मिसचीव्स करते हैं और टीचर्स को डिफिकल्टी में डालते हैं क्लासरूम में, ठीक है। जैसे जैसे टीचर लिखने शुरू करेंगे ब्लैक बोर्ड में, तो आप देखेंगे तो स्टूडेंट कुछ ना कुछ शरारती स्टूडेंट है, कुछ करते हैं। तो टीचर क्या करते हैं, अपना स्पाई रखते हैं क्लास में, पहले किसी एक बच्चा को पकड़ते हैं, ठीक है। तो उन्हीं से फिर उनको पता चलता है कि और कौन कौन है जो इस काम में लगे हैं। अदर एग्जाम्पल, कभी कभी आप देखे होंगे, यू मस्ट हैव गॉन थ्रू इन न्यूज़पेपर सच आर्टिकल और सच टाइप ऑफ न्यूज़ कि स्कूल को स्टूडेंट, इवन इफ एलिमेंट्री स्कूल स्टूडेंट, सेकेंडरी स्कूल स्टूडेंट, ये मोबाइल फ़ोन लेकर आ जाते हैं, स्मार्टफोन लेकर आ जाते हैं। आप देखेंगे छुपा कर रखते हैं, जब टीचर नहीं होते हैं या चुपके से जाकर कहाँ उसे वो यूज करते हैं। और कभी कभी आप देखेंगे और भी स्टूडेंट्स को मोटिवेट करते हैं, एक ग्रुप बनाते हैं, चलो हम भी देखेंगे। तो मैं ये नहीं कहता कि स्कूल में कोई एक बच्चा ऐसे करता है, और भी कैसे करते होंगे। यदि स्कूल पहले पकड़ लिया कि ऐसे कोई एक स्टूडेंट बाय सर्चिंग द बैग, एक स्टूडेंट पकड़ा गया कि वो फ़ोन लेकर आता है, तो फिर उसी स्टूडेंट से पता चलता है, वो खुद ही बोल देता है कि मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ, मेरे साथ ये भी है, इनके बैग में भी है, उनके बैग में भी। सो यू आर गेटिंग माई पॉइंट, आई थिंक। सो फर्स्ट योर वर्क इज टू फाइंड आउट the first unit of the population, so that will be the first unit of your sample, and by targeting that unit of the sample you can reach more units. It is just like the number will be increased, number will be multiplied. Okay, so that's why you can use a snowball types of sampling if you feel, if you understand that in your study you are not getting clear idea about the population. If the population units are abstract, पहला आप देखिए एक abstract unit था, धीरे धीरे concrete number आपके पास आ रहा है। But let me to say, when you are adopting snowball sampling method, the result that you will get, you cannot generalize the result. The research result, the findings of the study that you will get, you cannot generalize it. And let me to say, it is not only for the snowball sampling method, rather in other non-probability sampling methods also. It may be incidental method, it may be judgmental method, it may be purposive method. So whatever non-probability sampling technique you adopt, the findings and the result that you will get, it is very difficult to generalize because you have not selected a sample by using the probability sampling method. And here you are just allowing, you are just giving certain space, allowing certain error for your research from the very beginning of the selection of sample, as you have selected the non-probability sampling method. But at the same time, being a researcher, being a student of education, being a follower of the discipline of education, let me to say that many a time non-probability sampling may prove as one of the good sampling method also. I will tell you later. The second technique of non-probability sampling that you can use for selecting a sample in your study, that is the quota sampling. So friends, try to understand that what is a quota sampling. So what do you mean by quota? हम हमारा आम बातचीत में, ठीक है, आम जीवन में कब मेनी टाइम हम कोटा का शब्द यूज करते हैं. कोटा मीन्स यू कैन से एक स्पेसिफिक नंबर, ओके, स्पेसिफिक परसेंटेज, 10% कोटा, 20% कोटा, हम ऐसे कहते हैं. कोटा मीन्स ए नंबर, यू कैन से. So here in quota sampling is somehow similar with stratified random sampling. Stratified random sampling जैसे है. Stratified random sampling is part of the probability sampling. In stratified random sampling, what you are doing, you are just getting the sample in different strata, and you are taking the adequate percentage of the sample from different strata. यदि 25% लेंगे तो हर स्टाटा से 25% आपको लेना पड़ेगा. In my last video lesson, I had discussed about the different socio-economic group, the children or the students coming from different socio-economic group, high socio-economic group, middle socio-economic group, and low socio-economic group. If you have to take 25% of the population as sample, तो आप क्या करेंगे, हाई सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप से 25 लेंगे, मिडिल सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप से 25 लेंगे और लो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप से 25 लेंगे. तब जाकर हम कहेंगे ये स्ट्रैटिफाइड रैंडम सैम्पलिंग. बट नाउ इन कोटा सैम्पलिंग इट इज समथिंग डिफरेंट. हियर यू सी रैंडमाइजेशन इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड इन कोटा सैम्पलिंग. कोटा सैम्पलिंग में हम रैंडमाइजेशन नहीं करेंगे. ओके, कोटा फिक्स करेंगे तो उसके अनुसार हम लेंगे. जस्ट लाइक लेट n मीन्स योर पॉपुलेशन. Let the size of the population is 1000, and which comprises 60% of boys and 40% of girls. Means 1000 students, among them 60% are boys and 40% of the students are girls. So what you have to do, let in sample there should be 60% of boys and 40% of the girls. If the sample quota fixed, let 100. You fixed the quota that out of 1000, you have to select 100 age sample. 100 is here 10%. Okay. In quota sample, you can specify a number. No need of specifying the percentage, just like in a probability sampling method. Probability sampling method में मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा 1000 है तो मैं 100 लूँगा, मैं 200 लूँगा. मैं कह सकता हूँ मैं 10% लूँगा या 15% लूंगा या 20% लूंगा. जितने भी पॉपुलेशन हो उसका 10%, 20%. बट इन नॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी सैम्पलिंग आई कैन से दैट आई कैन टेक ए नंबर, ओके, ए कोटा, जस्ट लाइक 1000 out of 100 out of 1000. But here what I have to do, here you see, let I fixed this sample code, the quota of the sample is 100, as the population represents both boys and girls, and that is also 60% boys and 40% girls. So that's why in my sample, what I will do, my sample size is 100 and the percentage I will maintain. That means 60 boys and 40 girls I have to select, okay, as per the population. But randomization I will not do. What I will do, sampling will be finished when the researcher gets 60 boys and 40 girls. तो मैं क्या करूँगा, जो 1000 स्टूडेंट से मैं जाकर उनसे मिलूंगा. पहले बॉयज से मिला, उसका डाटा ले लिया. सेकंड में गर्ल्स मिला, उसका डाटा ले लिया, उसके इंटरव्यू कर लिया, क्वेश्चनर दे दिया. ऐसे करके जब 60 बॉयज मेरा हो जाता है, मेरा कोटा फुल हो गया, तो मैं वहीं से बॉयज के लिए क्लोज कर दूंगा. जो 40 गर्ल्स का डाटा मैंने कलेक्ट कर लिया, तो यहाँ भी मेरा कोटा जो गर्ल्स का था ये फुल हो गया. इट मीन्स पहले 100 मैंने कोटा फिक्स किया और उसके बाद 40 गर्ल्स एंड 60 बॉयज़, जैसे जैसे मैंने डाटा कलेक्शन करते गया, क्वेश्चनर या इंटरव्यू उनको करते गया, जैसे मेरा नंबर हो जाता है 60 and 40, तो फिर वहीं से मैं क्लोज कर देता हूँ. So here sampling will be finished when the researcher gets data from 60 boys and 40 girls. But here, as like the earlier non-probability sampling method, here also by using quota sampling, it's very difficult to generalize, universalize the findings. जो findings आपको मिलेगा उसे आप generalize नहीं कर पाएंगे, दूसरे के ऊपर उसे apply नहीं कर पाएंगे, because आप यहाँ error को space दिए हैं by taking the non-probability sampling method. Okay, so that's why इसे आप generalize नहीं कर पाएंगे. Then the third non-probability sampling technique, that's called as the incidental sampling. Incidental मतलब जो incidentally आपको मिल गया उसे आप ले लिया. Just like it is also called as an convenient sampling. Convenient means it depends upon the researcher's conveniently जो आपको मिल गया उसे आप ले लेंगे. आपके नियर बाई एरिया में, आपके नियर बाई स्कूल, नियर बाई विलेज. ओके, यदि पेरेंट्स को लेना है, जो आसपास में आपको मिला कन्वीनियंटली, इंसिडेंटली जो अवेलेबल हुआ उसे आप ले लिए. इतने कुछ प्रोसेस आपको अडॉप्ट करने का जरूरत नहीं है कि उसको लिस्ट करो, फिर उसका लेटरिन मेथड में लो या रैंडम टेबल मेथड में लो, कुछ करने का जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है, विलेज को गया, पास वाले विलेज को, कम्युनिटी मेंबर्स को लेना था या पेरेंट्स को लेना था, एक एक करके घर गया, जो मिला उसे आप उसका डाटा आप ले लिया. Select the units which is incidentally or conveniently available. As I said, you visit the field and incidentally with it without any notice, whoever is available, उनका डाटा आप कलेक्ट कर लिया. So for interviewing the 50 SMC members, so SMC here School Management Committee. SMC is one of the recommendation of the Right to Education Act. This is one of the provision. Okay, every school should have one SMC. तो आपका स्टडी यदि SMC members के ऊपर है and you have decided that you have fixed a number that 50 SMC का इंटरव्यू आपको करना है, then what you have to do, you have to visit the nearby school and the nearby village and you will ask that who are the SMC. तो जो SMC होगा, if the SMC members are available, then you take data from them. So you have to visit the school or the village, and who is available at that time, you have to interview them. No need of waiting, no need of doing any type of randomization. But here, generalization of result is not possible as sampling is not drawn from the population on a representative basis. So here, the sample that you will get, it may or may not represent the population. ये population को represent नहीं कर सकता है, क्योंकि incidentally और कन्वीनियंटली आप सैंपल ड्रा किया है. सो दैट्स वाई नाउ इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू जनरलाइज द रिजल्ट दैट यू विल गेट. बट मेनी टाइम वी डू इंसिडेंटल सैम्पलिंग. कभी कभी सर्वे में आप देखे होंगे विदाउट एनी नोटिस, गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स हो या कुछ NGOs हो, वो गांव को आते हैं, आकर पूछते हैं. ओके, विलेजर्स को, रेसिडेंट्स को आकर वो पूछते हैं, डिफरेंट इंफॉर्मेशन लेने के लिए आते हैं और प्रायर नोटिस को कुछ नहीं देते. सो यू कैन से दैट इज ए टाइप ऑफ इंसिडेंटल सैम्पलिंग. जो मिला उसे वो ले लिए. नेक्स्ट, द फोर्थ सैम्पलिंग टेक्निक, नॉन प्रोबेबिलिटी सैम्पलिंग, व्हिच इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट इज पर्पसिव सैम्पलिंग मेथड. सो हियर पर्पसिंग मीन्स इट कम्स फ्रॉम द वर्ड पर्पस, उद्देश्य. ओके, तो आपका रिसर्च का जो पर्पज है, आपका रिसर्च का जो उद्देश्य है, वो डिटरमिन करता है कि किस प्रकार सैंपल आप ले. ओके, सो लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट हाउ यू कैन सिलेक्ट a sample by using the purposive sampling method. So it is based upon the researcher's discretion, as I have already said that in a non-probability sampling method, researcher's biasness, researcher's discretion works. So that's why you can select, as a researcher, you can select a sample as per the purpose of the research and as per your judgment or as per your discretion. It also called a judgmental sampling because it depends upon the judgment of the researcher. आप एक रिसर्चर है, आपके विचार में कौन से सैंपल यूनिट आपके स्टडी के लिए ठीक होगा, आपका स्टडी का पर्पस को फुलफिल करेगा, आपसे अच्छा और कोई नहीं जानते हैं. सो दैट्स व्हाई यू कैन सिलेक्ट ए सैंपल बाय यूजिंग द पर्पसिव सैम्पलिंग मेथड और बाय द जजमेंटल सैम्पलिंग मेथड. The researcher defines the purpose for selecting a particular unit or group of sample. तो रिसर्चर डिफाइन करेगा कि पर्पस क्या है उनका, ठीक है, ये रिसर्च का क्या पर्पस है. सो अकॉर्डिंगली द रिसर्चर will select the sample. To adopt purposive sampling method, the researcher should have adequate experience about the population and the objectives of the study. So friends, try to understand. So what are the objectives of the study? Then further, the researcher should have adequate experience about the research. So a researcher, unless a researcher is involved deeply into the study, the nature of the study, then he or she cannot find out that what type of sampling unit will really work, will really, you can say, will be a good sample for his or her research. So that's why, friends, here one of the important aspect that the researcher's experience. So here, I have already said that you as the researcher, you are the best person. You understand your research problem because the problem that you have selected for your study, that is your own problem. Okay, that is the researcher's problem. So that's why you know that what type of sampling unit will serve better for your study to get a type of good findings, good results. So that's why रिसर्चर्स का एक्सपीरियंस को बेस करके रिसर्च का पर्पस के हिसाब से जो सैम्पलिंग होगा हम कहेंगे कि दैट इज पर्पसिव सैम्पलिंग, बट दैट इज नॉट एट ऑल ए प्रोबेबिलिटी सैम्पल. Let us try to understand with an example. Let's study habits of high achieving student. आपका रिसर्च टाइटल जो है, you just want to study the study habits, want to conduct a study on study habits of high achieving students. जो high achieving students है उनका study habits आपको जानना है. Okay, so how can you select a sample by using the probability sampling, the purposive sampling method? So you see, habits may be different between. मैं यदि आपको पूछूंगा स्टडी हैबिट्स क्या सभी का एक ही जैसे होता है, लर्निंग स्टाइल क्या सभी का एक ही जैसे होता है, प्रिपरेशन ऑफ नोट, ओके, नोट प्रिपरेशन क्या सभी का एक ही जैसे होता है, नहीं होता है. आप देखेंगे इट वेरीज इंडिविजुअल टू इंडिविजुअल, इट वेरीज स्टूडेंट्स टू स्टूडेंट. ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई स्टडी हैबिट्स ऑफ द बॉयज मे बी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम स्टडी हैबिट्स ऑफ द गर्ल्स. यदि आपके स्टडी में इफ देयर इज द स्कोप to know the study habits of the boys and to know the study habits of the girls, then what you have to do, you have to select the high achieving boys as well as high achieving girls. तो जो यूनिट सैंपल यूनिट जो होगा आपका कोशिश रहेगा हाई अचीविंग बॉयज कुछ आप ले लें और हाई अचीविंग गर्ल्स कुछ ले लें, तो आपका स्टडी का पर्पज को फुलफिल करेगा. फर्दर रूरल एंड अर्बन स्टूडेंट्स, you can say that the so far as study habits are concerned, the रूरल स्टूडेंट का स्टडी हैबिट्स और अर्बन स्टूडेंट्स का जो स्टडी हैबिट्स उसमें वेरिएशन आ सकता है. अर्बन स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत सारे फैसिलिटीज मिलता है सो फार एज रिसोर्सेज, सो फार एज लर्निंग सपोर्ट, बट रूरल स्टूडेंट को इन कंपैरिजन टू अर्बन स्टूडेंट इतने सपोर्ट एंड फैसिलिटी नहीं मिलता है. सो अकॉर्डिंगली स्टडी हैबिट का जब हम बात करेंगे रूरल और अर्बन का अलग अलग हो सकता है, क्या जंक्शन है. तो इसीलिए यदि आपका स्टडी में इस प्रकार आप कंपैरिजन करना चाहते हैं, देन द पर्पस ऑफ योर स्टडी इज टू टेक द सैम्पलिंग यूनिट ए ग्रुप फ्रॉम रूरल एरिया एंड ए ग्रुप फ्रॉम द अर्बन एरिया. देन फर्दर हाई सोशियो इकोनॉमिक, लो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप स्टूडेंट्स. सो मुझे बताइए स्टडी हैबिट स्टूडेंट्स, स्टडी हैबिट्स ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स हु आर कमिंग फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप, coming from high socio-economic group families and the low socio-economic group families. तो शायद आप मेरे से सहमत होंगे कि जो लर्नर्स है डिफरेंट सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप से जब आते हैं उनका लर्निंग स्टाइल, उनका स्टडी हैबिट्स अलग अलग होता है, बिकॉज इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द फैमिली कल्चर, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ द फैमिली, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द गाइडेंस ऑफ द फैमिली to the children, and it also depends upon certain financial aspects. So that's why habits determines the socio-economic standard of the family also. तो यदि आपके स्टडी में इस प्रकार का है कि जो हाई सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप से आते हैं उनका हैबिट्स कैसे है और जो लो सोशियो इकोनॉमिक ग्रुप से आते हैं उनका हैबिट्स कैसे है, तो फिर आप दोनों ग्रुप से एक एक ग्रुप स्टूडेंट्स ले सकते हैं. देन डिफरेंट बोर्ड ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स, तो जो हाई अचीविंग स्टूडेंट्स है डिफरेंट बोर्ड से जो आते हैं, सीबीएसई बोर्ड से या किसी स्टेट बोर्ड से या आईसीएसई बोर्ड से, क्या सभी बोर्ड का स्टूडेंट्स का हैबिट एक ही जैसे है जो हाई अचीविंग स्टूडेंट्स है, या सभी बोर्ड स्टूडेंट्स का हैबिट्स जो है ये अलग अलग है? यदि ये आपको जानना है, then you can select students from different boards so that you can have a better comparison. Then further, habits may be different in different levels of scoring within the high achieving students. So first of all, what are the ways to identify, to define the high achieving students? क्या वो 80% रखेंगे या 90% रखेंगे या 70% रखेंगे? एक साइकोलॉजिकल बेस, एक मैथमेटिकल बेस जरूर आपको यहाँ डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा कि एज पर द नॉर्म ऑफ द नॉर्मल प्रोबेबिलिटी कर्व। मैंने एनपीसी यहाँ डिस्कशन नहीं करूँगा, अदरवाइज इट विल टेक टाइम। पर एनपीसी के हिसाब से यू हैव टू डिसाइड दैट व्हाट परसेंटेज will be considered as the high achieving, as the point above that point the students those have secured, you can say that the high achieving students. It may be 80, it may be 85, it may be 75, or it may be 90. So here यदि आप ये जानना चाहते हैं 60 to 70% जो स्टूडेंट्स रखे हैं उनका हैबिट्स क्या है, 70 to 80% स्कोर जो रखे हैं उनका हैबिट्स कैसे है, 80 to 90 और 90 to 100। ठीक है, यदि तीन ग्रुप आप कर रहे हैं 80 to 90, 70 to 80, 80 to 90 and 90 to 100, तो आप क्या करेंगे? सो दिस इज द पर्पज ऑफ योर स्टडी, दैट यू हैव टू कंपेयर different group of high achieving students starting from 70 to 80%, 80 to 90% and 90 to 100%. So accordingly you have to select three group of students, those have secured 70 to 80, then another group 80 to 90, then the third group they have secured from 90 to 100%, so that you can have a better comparison. So friends, ये जितने एग्जाम्पल मैंने आपको दिया ये रिसर्च का पर्पस के हिसाब से है. So it is the researcher's judgment, because you have involved in the study. You know that whether you have to take the boys or the girls, or only boys or only girls, whether you have to take both rural or urban, or only rural or urban, whether you have to take high socioeconomic group students or the low socioeconomic group students, or only one socioeconomic group students, whether you will take students from different boards, or whether you will take students from different high achieving scoring categories, from scoring groups. It is up to you, and your research will determine. So that's why, friends, this is called as a purposive sampling method. And let me to say, many a time purposive sampling method proves that it is also a good sample. You can conduct a very good study by using the purposive sampling method. And here let me to say that though it is a good study by using purposive sampling method, because it shows researchers' involvement in the study, deeply understanding of the study, still then it is very difficult to generalize the result, to generalize the findings, that you conduct a study by selecting a purposive sampling method. This is because you are not doing a type of randomization here. Okay, you are also giving space for certain types of sampling error. Okay, so friends, we discuss here the non-probability sampling technique, just to recapitulate, and the concept of non-probability sampling method. Then we discussed about different techniques that you can use for selecting a sample by using non-probability method. Then further the different techniques, the processes also we discussed, just like a snowball sampling technique, then quota sampling technique, incidental sampling technique, as well as your purposive sampling method. So you are the best person as a researcher for preparing your research proposal, for conducting your study, and for writing your dissertation report. What you can do, you can select a good sample. If it is possible to take a probability sample, definitely take a probability sample. And if it is not possible, then you can select a non-probability sample and you conduct your study. So friends, for further queries, you can write a mail to me, niradhar@ignou.ac.in. You can also make me a telephone call. My intercom is 2994. You can visit my Facebook, my YouTube channel, and my Twitter handle. So if you'll subscribe my YouTube channel, you'll find hundreds of video programs are there. More than 200 videos are there at present in my YouTube channel, you will find that many valuable themes on education and many valuable topics on education that I have discussed and all have documented. So that will help you a lot for your MA education program, at the same time for understanding other issues of education. So, friends, in my next session, I will discuss other issues other issues for conducting the dissertation course. Course code is MESP001 of MA Education Program of Indira Gandhi National Open University. Thank you.